This part of the Yoga Vasistha is really concerned with basic healthy living. It's concerned with the cholera virus. The cholera virus is explained in terms of the demoness, who is now known as Suchika, which is like a needle which penetrates into the individual and spreads her illness within that form of the illness, cholera. She's known as Vasistha. Vasistha continued, Suchika had her numerous hiding places. Among them were dust and dirt on the ground, unclean fingers, threads in a cloth, within one's body and the muscles, dirty skin covered with dust, unclean furrows on the palms and on other parts of the body due to senility, places where flies abound, in a lustreless body, in places full of decaying leaves, in places devoid of healthy trees, in people of filthy dress, people of unhealthy habits, in tree stumps caused by deforestation in which the flies breed, in puddles of stagnant water, in polluted water, in open sewers running in the middle of roads, in rest houses used by travellers, and in those cities where there are many animals like elephants, horses, etc. Being Suchika, a sewing needle, she wore dirty pieces of cloth thrown on the roads, sewn together, and she roamed freely in the bodies of sick people. Even as a sewing needle, which has been well used by a tailor, feels fatigue and falls to the ground to take some rest, as it were, Suchika also got tired of her destructive activity. Just as sewing, piercing, is the natural function of a needle, cruelty was the nature of Suchika. Just as the needle keeps on swallowing the thread that passes through it, Suchika continued to claim her victims. It is seen in the world that even wicked and cruel people are sometimes moved to pity when they see others who have been poverty-stricken and miserable for a long time. Even so, Suchika saw the endless thread that had passed through her in the cloth, in her own karma in front of her. So she's seeing that she's building up bad karma. This worried her. She fancied that this dark cloth, which had been woven by her, a Suchika or sewing needle, was covering her face, and that she was blindfolded. She wondered, how shall I wear this veil? She, the needle, passed through soft cloth, good people, as also hard cloth, the wicked ones. For what fool or wicked person discriminates between what is good and what is not? Unharmed and unprovoked by others, Suchika works for the destruction and death of others. Bound by this thread, she is dangling perilously. Known also as jiva-sucika, she moves in all beings as the life force, with the help of prana and apana, subjecting the jiva to sorrow by causing terribly sharp pain, of gout, rheumatism, which makes one lose his mind. She enters into the feet like a needle and drinks blood. Like all wicked people, she rejoices in others' sorrow. As Vasistha was saying this, the sun set and another day came to an end. The assembly adjourned for prayers. So basically we've got the cholera virus, which breeds in certain conditions, tormenting the individual. Vasistha continued. After living in this manner for a long time, the demoness Karkati was thoroughly disillusioned and repented her foolish desire to devour people, which entailed severe penance for 1,000 years, and the degraded existence as a needle and cholera virus. She thus bewailed her own self-inflicted misfortune. Alas, where is my mountainous body, and where is the form of a needle? Sometimes I fall into mud and filth. I am trampled upon by people. Alas, I am lost. I have no friends. No one takes pity upon me. I have no fixed abode, nor have I a body worth the name. I have surely lost my mind and my senses. The mind that is heading towards calamity first creates delusion and wickedness, and these themselves later expand into misfortune and sorrow. I am never free, ever at the mercy of others. I am in the hands of others and do what they make me do. I desire to appease the goblin of a desire to devour all, but this has led to a remedy worse than the disease, and a greater goblin has arisen. Surely I am a brainless fool, hence I threw away such a great and gigantic body, and deliberately chose the despicable body of a virus, or a needle. Who is now going to liberate me from this miserable existence as a being smaller than a worm? The very thought of such a vicious creature as I am may not even arise in the heart of sages. Ah, when will I again be as large as a mountain and drink the blood of large beings? Let me become an ascetic again and perform penance as I did before. Yes, the very thought of such a vicious creature as she may not even arise in the heart of sages. In other words, she's so awful, who could possibly imagine her? At once Karkati abandoned all wish to devour living beings and went to the Himalayas for doing intense penance again. Standing as if on one foot, she began her penance. The fire of penance generated smoke from the crown of her head, and that too became another sucika, a helpmate. Her shadow became yet another sucika, yet another friend. Even the trees and creepers of the forest admired Suchika's penance, and radiated their pollens for her to eat. But she would not consume anything at all. She stood firmly on her resolve. The god of heaven also sent small particles of meat to where she stood, but she would not even let them touch her. Thus she stood for 7,000 years, utterly motionless, unmoved by wind, rain, or forest fire. Karkati's whole being became completely purified by this penance. All her sinful tendencies had been washed away by the penance, and she gained the highest wisdom. The energy of her penance set the Himalayas on fire, as it were. Indra, the king of heaven, learnt from the sage Narada of Karkati's unprecedented undertaking. So we're firmly within the framework of Hindu belief, which believes that by undertaking severe austerities, severe penances, not only are tremendous powers possible, the acquisition of tremendous powers, not only is that possible, but some kind of wisdom is also possible. This was something that the Buddha denied. The Buddha followed this tradition. He deprived himself of food, he meditated, he became an ascetic, and apparently he was quite famous for it in his day. According to his own account, he was so thin that if you touched his stomach, you'd actually be poking through his back. But he saw no wisdom. He saw no wisdom in that, and he took some food, and after doing some further meditation, achieved his insight. So we're going to be careful about getting too caught up in the romance of this story. It's what I call the spiritual romance. It's wonderful to think of these yogis whose will is so strong that the gods owe them favours. And also, at some point, that wisdom can be achieved. It's possible wisdom could be achieved, but it's not necessary to do these penances. So let's just enjoy the story for what it is.